the news is likely long-term bullish for crypto,
Right.
like long-term. But I think what we always have to remind ourselves is that they are still very illiquid investments. They are still high risk. It doesn't mean that they can't struggle for a while longer, especially as the Fed continues the tightening cycle.
For me, it's still this kind of pseudo gray now with maybe a little bit more clarity, but not enough to really release the Kraken, as they say.
Today, Gareth Soloway and Benjamin Cowen share their bullish outlook for crypto in the coming weeks and what we can expect heading into the last part of 2023. Soloway also discusses the challenges that Bitcoin may face and the price retracement we saw last week. The market has seen frequent price reversals whenever Bitcoin approaches 31,000, which has hindered its ability to maintain a continuous upward trajectory. Bitcoin's price appears to be consolidating around $30,000 currently, and analysis of Bitcoin's volume shows significant activity around 30,500, indicating a point of stability. One of the possible reasons for the recent downtrend could be a large number of people who are using leverage are now facing massive losses. Another factor that could be affecting Bitcoin's value might be the large amount of sales by Bitcoin miners on price rallies, a possible sign that they are in need of capital and are bearish on BTC short term. Let's get right into the latest interview with Gareth Soloway and Benjamin Cowen as they give their prediction for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in 2023. Don't forget to share your thoughts and comments down below and leave a like if you enjoy the content we do here.
In 2017, if I remember correctly, Bitcoin found a top before the dollar found a bottom. If I remember, it's been a few years. If I pull over here the dollar, so the dollar in 2017, it looks like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin actually topped, we know, in late 2017. I believe it was the week of December 17th. So it was over here. The dollar continued down until, almost February. There are examples in history where Bitcoin can top out even if the dollar is still in a downtrend.
Now I'm looking at gold, right? So like if we look at gold, we've seen, and this is kind of an interesting thing, right? So we've seen the dollar pull back, and that kind of popped gold. Now the dollar's kind of caught a sideways slight bid and gold's pulling back. But one of the interesting things is just looking at this chart, this is the level we talked about a pullback on gold coming to right down here, right around this 1900-ish area before the next move higher. And again, I'm still in the camp that gold will have a significant breakout at some point, but I think that occurs, like if you look at the data and the narrative being spun by CNBC and by so many political people, it's all that, inflation's going to go right back in the box. It's going to be sub 2%. This is going to be the perfect soft landing. And the case for gold is probably only made if it's not a soft landing. So you get fear and also that inflation stays high. So at least for me, right now gold is behaving like that narrative where this is a triple top, right? So double top here, you get the big pullback, triple tops, the small pullback, and then eventually it breaks to the upside. I've been following silver as well, and silver's been stronger than gold, right? So again, here's a lot of annotation on the chart that I just put in, but look at that move on silver. And again, so many people are like, oh my goodness, is this the next bull market in silver? Because I think for a lot of us, we remember back in this move. This was the most incredible move I've ever traded through in silver, where silver went from $11 to basically $30. And for a commodity like silver, that was insane, that type of move. Now, the kicker here, that was not even the big move. I apologize. The one that I traded through during this period was even crazier, from $8 to $50. So the bigger question then is silver starting this bigger breakout? And what you can do is you can go to the gold silver ratio. You can see that on the chart, look at this trend line here. We're right into that. So we're either at support or it's beginning to break. And again, that's going to be very interesting. Now, I'm in the camp that it's not going to break. And I'll tell you why. The basics of it is that silver's gotten a much bigger bid than gold recently because inflation looks like it's coming back in the box, and economic activity, which silver thrives off of because it's also industrial, it's an industrial metal, that's gotten a big bid. But as soon as we start to question the economics of the US and whether or not we will avoid recession, that's where silver starts to underperform gold. But it's an interesting trend line. Really going back to 2021, look at that perfect little trend line there.
is a triple top. How often does that end up being a top? Doesn't it normally break to the upside rather than actually like finalizing as a triple top before going down?
Yeah, triple tops. So the double tops are the most common ones for rejection. Triple tops are much less. Usually triple tops give that small pullback and then a big breakout occurs. And so that's kind of because probabilities are favoring that. That's how I'm looking at this scenario with gold. But again, there's always a chance, right? Everything has probability to it. There's always a chance it doesn't happen. But again, when you get the shallow pullback on the gold chart, it's telling you that there are a lot of buyers accumulating. And one thing I've heard is that, number one, the BRICS, we know the BRICS countries, they were looking to create a currency backed by gold. And we also know that central banks have been buying gold hand over fist, whether it's China or whether it's other countries. And so for me, it's always been, okay, do the charts support the big money? And if the charts support the big money, it's very rare that the charts will do the opposite of what the big money does, because big money controls things, right? And so you have a scenario now where, as much as we wanted this finality where it's like, okay, alts are not securities, we're now going to have to wait 1 year to 2 years to get that finality, which means that institutions are not going to be like heavily investing in these things, right? So it brings us back to that idea that, okay, well, probably if we get a spot ETF, they probably would start to heavily invest in Bitcoin, which goes with the whole dominance side of things as well. So I think that's just something that investors, they get so excited, and I don't blame them. I mean, that move on Ripple was incredible. Although, to be honest, I thought it would go more, maybe because it wasn't a full win and there's the appeal process. But for me, it's still this kind of pseudo gray now, with maybe a little bit more clarity, but not enough to really release the Kraken, as they say,
The news is likely long-term bullish for crypto,
Right.
like long-term. But I think what we always have to remind ourselves is that they are still very illiquid investments. They are still high risk. It doesn't mean that they can't struggle for a while longer, especially as the Fed continues the tightening cycle. We've seen similar moves by XRP, actually. I mean, when XRP moves, I'll give to give XRP credit, it likes to not do anything for a long time, and then when it moves quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was actually a rally over here in 2018 where it went up like 100% in a week, and here in 2017 where it went up 200% in a week, and 2021 like 100% in a week. And these moves are few and far between for XRP. When it moves quite quickly. But what's interesting is how, I mean, XRP hasn't really retraced that move much at all, but a lot of the altcoins kind of already retraced more or less back to where they were, if I'm not mistaken.
So I remember a couple weeks ago talking to you about how, even though I believed that Bitcoin dominance was ultimately going to head higher, there was opportunities for kind of a snapback on some of the altcoins. And so we were long Cardano with this beautiful little wedge, and then as it popped into this area, that's where we started to unload, right? So it's the swing trade ability to kind of just be in and be out and understand the bigger macro picture. But you can see what's happened. I mean, Cardano's come right back in. Now, what this does for me, at least, is this potentially brings up a opportunity here. This becomes support right here, right? So you have this trend line and this trend line, which were this was former resistance. When resistance breaks, it now becomes support. I think it's important to just caveat this for everyone watching, that I'm not talking about long-term holds. These are make 10%, 15%, be out of the type of trading opportunities.
Gareth Soloway believes that there is a likelihood of a significant breakout in gold, but emphasizes that this will only occur if the current economic narrative around a soft landing and low inflation is challenged. Cowen also reminds investors of the Fed's tightening cycle and the implications this could have on crypto holders long term. He notes that in 2017 and 2018, the market had altcoins that increased by 100 and 200%, and to watch for the parallels we're seeing in the crypto market today. Because the trajectories are so similar, we could potentially be looking at the biggest rally in the market in the last 6 years. Soloway points out that investors in the past week unloaded Bitcoin profits on swing trading, which he firmly stands by in the short term to invest back into crypto. What is your perspective on the recent price reversals and trading patterns of Bitcoin? And how soon do you think we'll see the parallels from 2017 and 2018 in crypto come to fruition in 2023? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. We'll see you in the next video.